Good afternoon, everybody, and thank you for joining today's webinar in partnership with Cvent, where today we're going to be talking about unlocking the secrets to hotel and venue success. My name is Eloise Hanson. I'm the editor of hospitality here at Boutique Hotel News, and we're a global trade publication covering the boutique, lifestyle, and luxury hotel sectors. A brief introduction to Cvent, which is an industry-leading meetings, events, and hospitality technology provider, and we have a short video to play for you today. And further information about Cvent has been shared into the chat if you would like to learn more. Now, a very quick overview of how today's webinar is going to run. We'll spend around 45 minutes chatting with our panelists today, followed by some time at the end to take any questions from the floor. So please submit your questions using the Q&A function at the bottom of your screen, and I'll get around to asking those where appropriate. And a gentle reminder that today's session is being recorded, and everybody that has registered will receive a copy of that recording within a couple of days' time. Now let's meet our panelists today, and I'm going to kick off with Konrad. Please, if you can briefly introduce yourself as well as your role at Cvent.
All right, first of all, thanks for inviting me, Eloise. It's great to be here. Hi, everyone. I'm Konrad Pant. I'm the Regional Sales Director here at Cvent. I represent our hospitality cloud side of the business. So that means I work a lot with hotels and chains to help support them in terms of what they're looking for, whether it's to grow their business or to drive efficiency. So yeah, I've been with Cvent for the last 14 years and excited to be here.
Oh, lovely to have you, Konrad. And Mary, coming to you next, please.
Thanks, Eloise, and good afternoon, everyone. It's great to be on today's panel discussion. I'm very much looking forward to it. I am Operations Director at Blue Orchid Hotels, which is a collection of independent hotels throughout London, 4-star and 5-star hotels. We've got some exciting plans over the next number of years to develop the current portfolio and probably bring it on about threefold of what we have in terms of capacity today. I've been in the London hotel market for 20 plus years, both in independent hotels and in branded properties. So I think I'll be very much London centric in terms of what we're discussing today, but really looking forward to our discussion.
Thanks a lot, Mary. And last but by no means least, Neil.
Yeah, hello, Eloise. Hello, everybody. Thank you for joining us. Yeah, my name's Neil Thompson. I'm the founder of the Delegate Wranglers. We're a community for the event industry. We're 10 years old this year, in a couple of weeks, actually. So look out for lots of celebrations from us. We help all aspects of the event industry. So from the event buying side, solving their problems, right through to hoteliers, hotel groups, winning business on the group, actually connecting with people. We have events in real life, we're on trade shows. So we're kind of there for the industry. We're kind of a really friendly and positive community, and we're partners with Facebook as well. So yeah, that's us.
Brilliant. Thanks a lot, Neil. And just to flag that all the LinkedIn profiles of our speakers have been popped into the chat, and I do encourage you all to connect so that we can carry on the conversation long after today's webinar has finished. So Before we dive into our main discussion today, I always like to highlight some key stories or some context. And here are some stories that we've published on Boutique Hotel News, as well as our sister publication, Service Department News. And we can see on the left-hand side here that Cvent has noted some key meetings and events trends in its latest ebook, which covers, for example, the growth of hybrid and leisure travel, the importance of staff roles and their relationship with planners, challenges around inflation, as well as sustainability. And it's definitely worth reading when you get a moment. I believe the link to download the ebook may be popped into the chat. If not, we will follow up with any sort of comms after this webinar. But I do ask you to stay tuned, as we'll shortly be hearing from further insights from Konrad in a moment. But within the larger corporate travel market, sorry, if we can just stay onto our context slides, please. Sustainability has been a huge topic, and agents are increasingly relied on to provide ESG data about their supply chain to clients. And the UK portfolio of Millennium Hotels and Resorts has just recently received accreditation by Green Tourism. To give you an idea of some of the initiatives that the group has rolled out, includes its Millennium Green Meetings Pledge, which may make venues more attractive to buyers, perhaps something that we'll talk about today. And finally, Hilton's 2024 Trends Report reveals that millennials and Gen Z account for the largest demographic traveling for business this year. And more than 1/3 said that they plan to extend a business trip too, definitely playing into that leisure trend in Cvent's ebook. And in terms of destination, many conferences and events took place in secondary markets last year, so moving slightly away from urban city centres, and this might have an impact, for example, on marketing and sales strategies moving forwards. So let's talk about unlocking the secrets to hotel and venue success. And I want to kick off with a question to Konrad first. Can you highlight some key booking trends that you're seeing from event planners?
Yeah, absolutely, Eloise. And I think when you talk about this, I'm reminded of the Cvent Planner Sourcing Report that we actually published in December, so not long ago. We hosted the survey and we sent it out to more than 600 planners, asking them a ton of questions about what they're anticipating for 2024, what's their outlook on the meetings and events industry. So it's a very lengthy document, but I'm just going to share a few things that I took away from there. Number one is, of course, the increased positivity that's coming back for 2024. More than 80% of the planners that we surveyed said that they were actively looking for an event venue for an event that they're actually planning at that moment. So 85% of them said that they were in the process of actively sourcing an event. So again, that's great to hear because that's bringing a lot of momentum back to the year. Secondly, what they also said is that I'd say, again, close to 80% of them said that they expect their event budgets to increase in 2024. Now, this could be partially because of the event size increasing, but also because of increased costs as well, which we know is happening. I mean, there's inflation, there's the cost of fuel increasing. So overall, increased budgets for events this year. Sustainability, as you just touched upon, and you shared the great story of Millennium and how they become, a green tourism center. That is top of mind. In fact, 90% of the planners that we surveyed said that sustainability is top of mind for them when they're looking for an event venue. So again, it's not that this wasn't important, this was, but now planners are just being a lot more vocal about this and expecting hotels to provide this kind of information, any accreditations or certifications that they have. It's just becoming all the more important. And I'd say the last thing would just be the increased requirement from planners and meeting and event organizers to really be able to visualize your hotel. We know that technology plays a very important role, but at the same time, not every single planner can come over to your hotel for that on-site inspection. So things like images, things like videos, meeting room layouts, diagrams, the more content you can provide, especially in this competitive landscape today, this is something that really helps the meeting planner visualize how their event at your hotel could be like. So I think there's just an increased demand, and we've seen this in the previous years as well. It's not a new thing, but as I said, just with sustainability, more and more planners are now vocal. They expect this kind of information about your hotel. So the more visual content you can really upload and across multiple platforms, the easier it makes their, I would say, their buying process.
Mm-hmm. I definitely see a huge application of virtual and augmented reality within the meetings and event space in terms of how you can actually visualize and almost put yourself in that environment in terms of those planning stages. If I'm not mistaken, JLL were quoted as saying that offering these kinds of tools or platforms in order to visualize certain assets for sale actually sped up their sales time by around 80%. So a huge benefit and application of technology there.
Yeah.
Mary, coming to you, these trends that Konrad has highlighted, does this tally with what you're seeing across the Blue Orchid portfolio? What are the similarities? What are the differences? What's new? What's changed? Tell us more.
I think Konrad has summed it up really quite well in terms of a lot of the certainly the conversations that we have with our clients in terms of what they're looking for. I was reading an article at the weekend about hotels being back to pre-pandemic levels of trading, and even year-on-year increases in profitability, and December, as an example, December 23, certainly in London, profitability being higher than any other time preceding the pandemic, which is all fits into our view of 2024, and really for the first time in the post-COVID world, having a real business as usual approach to hospitality, which I think we're also looking forward to coming back to. So that feeds into the increased positivity that Konrad talked about so well. We've had our challenges in hospitality over the past few years. We'll park those and forget they ever existed. But to actually see that business coming back, to see the kind of idiosyncrasies as well in terms of some of how that business is coming back, and it's not exactly as we had it in the pre-COVID world. There are thankfully changes to all of that, and I think there's a real creativity and a buzz in hospitality again that is incredibly important. And it's not just about hosting an event, it's what you do with that event, it's the outcomes that you want in it, and it's very much about personalization in that for each individual event and for each individual organizer. We are seeing that whilst there is a huge amount of demand coming in for large events and small events again, we are still seeing that lead time is still very flexible, and you will of course get your longer lead times for event business, but equally and probably excitingly as well, you might have a quieter period coming up, that over the course then of a few weeks' time, you're seeing that there is last minute inquiries and demand coming in. And of course, that's exciting for a team who are target driven, who have numbers to produce at the end of a month or the end of a quarter, that where they're a little bit maybe concerned that that's not coming in, that last minute business and that last minute demand is really there. Sustainability absolutely is, in the top three elements of any piece of business that's coming in. And I think it's really important. We take a slightly different approach to it insofar as we say that for our sustainability success and our sustainability measures and targets to be achieved, we absolutely need you and your delegates on board to make that happen. So we can make commitments to reducing our carbon footprint. We can make commitments to reducing our waste and our how we operate utilities and all of those kind of things. But our focus for 2024 very much is as we do that as a business, and as every business does, we need to make sure that we are really communicating that message through to you, our delegates, our clients, so that you can help us achieve those targets at period end, at whatever we've set those individual targets for. And we do that at company level, and we do it at an individual hotel level as well, to really try and bring that to the fore of our event and hospitality business. We absolutely believe that visual is really important in our business, and technology plays a huge element of that. But what sets hospitality out from many other industries is the human factor and the human touch. And I think that's incredibly important as we grow better in our elements of technology, in our sustainability and our ESG, and all of those kind of things, that actually in every industry there is one element that's incredibly important. I think in hospitality it's that human touch. And that's never to be underestimated, about the importance of really how that is. So we see that element very broadly in our business, about that human touch. But again, agree with what Konrad's saying in terms of that, the positivity, the 80% looking to actively source events right now is really exciting to see and watch, and we see that coming through in our business as well.
Thanks, Mary. Neil, your hand is up, over to
Yeah,
you.
hi. You know what? I totally agree with what Konrad and Mary were saying. And I think one thing that I don't like to talk about the pandemic and stuff, but one thing I think it taught us, and moving forward, what it's really helped us, 3 real good lessons were sustainability, authenticity, and technology. And these are 3 things that we're now using a lot more in the event industry. Technology, things like this, things to be able to sell your products, ways to be able to view what's going on and to be able to stream it if you need to, things like this. Sustainability, it brought home to us the importance. We all got a chance to put the handbrake on and think about these things. So it brought home the importance to that now. And it's now becoming, the race is never run, but it's now becoming the norm that sustainability that's there. It's less needs to be talked about as this is our priority. We're all about sustainability. Most places are now well on board on that. And we still need to do work on it, of course, but they're well on board with that. And then I think going back to what Mary just said then, authenticity with your staff, getting them to believe in the dream and make the delegates feel things, feel the emotion of what it brought home to us was what the emotion of an event is, what to be connecting with people. This is what, we can all have meetings like this, and it might not be as emotional as if we were in a room and then we had coffee breaks and then we had drinks or whatever afterwards, and shared experience, like going to the cinema, for example, rather than watching a DVD. It's the shared experience which makes it. So I think all those things are things, particularly like with your staff in hotels, these are things that you can really elevate the experience of a delegate to the next level.
Thanks, Neil. It's the first I've heard someone talk about the emotion of an event. My brain's ticking, like, is that now a future webinar topic that maybe we can dive into at a later date? Because I quite enjoy that. So far, we've all been very positive about where we're at the moment, and all the signs are certainly looking upwards. But I do think it's worthwhile highlighting some of the challenges that we are currently facing, with a view, of course, as to how we can try and navigate these. So Konrad, coming to you, please. What are the biggest challenges that hotels and venues face, especially when it's so competitive? 85% of planners are trying to source an event. How do you try and stay, differentiate and attract that customer? So talk to us about those challenges.
I mean, look, I think I'll highlight one of the biggest challenges, which I've certainly heard the most about ever since the pandemic went away, is, and Mary referred to this really well when she talked about how the human element is so critical in hotels, that human interaction is so important. It's also one of the challenges right now, because across the hotel industry and with most of the people that I speak to, one thing that I hear most commonly across the board is just staff challenges, or not staff challenges, but yeah, the staffing challenge. So hotels are low in terms of manpower. I have heard so many cases of people multitasking, doing different roles that they weren't really originally hired for. There are some teams where there is no team, it's just the director of sales is doing everything. And even though we're in 2024, the staffing challenge is still there. It hasn't been resolved. So in terms of addressing that, again, the human element is always going to be the most important, but while we get back to that 2019 level of our normal staff levels, it's really just going to be about leveraging technology, and it can be leveraged in a lot of different ways. I mean, you can use technology to actually share some of the work. I mean, just to give you an example, just in December, actually, we hosted a webinar in partnership, not a webinar, a seminar in partnership with Helms Briscoe. And one of the details that they shared in their presentation that they were co-presenting with us was that they are now back to 2019 sourcing levels in terms of the RFPs that they're sending to hotels. So they're back at their 2019 levels. But one of the facts that was highlighted was that even though we are back, we do struggle to get responses from the hotels because we've just turned that tap on fully. But again, we're just struggling to get those responses from the hotel, and it all stems from the staffing challenge that hotels are currently facing. So to give a solution to that, as an example, one of the things that a hotel could do is they could actually invest in automation. So again, lead prioritization, RFP prioritization, it's not something that has to be a manual task. It is something that you can leverage technology for. The technology is going to sort out which RFPs you need to focus on based on the criteria that you input. So you can mention that, okay, this is a good lead for me, and this is maybe not something that my venue is well suited for. Once you set up those rules, you can automatically just see the RFPs that are well suited to you and just focus on them versus that one salesperson navigating through all of those RFPs. So this is just one example, but again, I'd say the biggest challenge, especially since the pandemic, that I've heard about and I still hear about is just the staffing challenge. One more thing that I'm just going to add as well, staffing challenges just aren't on the hotel side as well. It's also on the planner side. So Mary also referenced the fact that there are a lot of new companies, new planners that are sending business, which is why it gets so important to share visual content. So that's absolutely true. There are a lot of new planner associates, even within the same companies that you might have been doing business with. There could be a lot of new planner associates, and we see that data in our numbers as well. So you might think that you have a great relationship with company A, but company A has a new associate that's sending an RFP to your hotel for the first time. So not only is there a staffing challenge on the hotel side where they have less resources that need to do more, they now also need to handhold the new planner associates that are sending RFPs to those hotels and walk them through the entire process versus somebody who might have already done this a lot of times before. So it's twofold, I'd say.
I wonder if I can just come in. Sorry, Eloise. I agree that staffing is the key to maybe unlocking a lot of the opportunities. I'm going to turn challenges into opportunities, actually, because I think if we look beyond the world simply of hospitality and we look beyond London and we look in the regions and we look right around, I think and you know, depending on what we read, we know that there's challenges of staffing challenges in probably every industry that we could list and name off the top of our hats today. And as we do that, we have to turn that challenge of staffing, because I don't think there's a resolution to that. We have to turn that challenge into an opportunity. And how do we do that? And Konrad hit the nail on the head. Technology is going to be so vital and is already so vital in terms of what we do. But in order to make that challenge an opportunity, it's about having the right technology, and it's about having the right systems, and it's about having putting that dedicated time into those team members and into your staff to actually ensure that the output that's coming from those systems is actually really helping the outcomes in your business. We find ourselves, I think, sometimes spending a lot of time on what I call input, and what we don't do is concentrate on the output that gives us. And so if we turn that on its head and we think, what is the output or what is the outcome that I need, then that perhaps helps us to understand the challenges that we really have in 2024, and whether that's really a challenge of I don't have enough staff, or actually I have enough staff, but am I doing enough with them? Am I giving them the tools to do what they need? Do they have the right systems? Do they have the right technology? They have a system, but is it the right one? And I really think that in today's world, irrespective of whether you're in hospitality or somewhere else, that challenge of people needs to be turned into the opportunity of people. And what am I going to do with the people I have? How do I motivate them? We talk about Generation Z. How do we motivate them, and how do we really make sure that they stay with us for a period of time that's both successful for the business and for that individual? And so I guess I say that we turn that challenge into an opportunity, which perhaps Konrad doesn't agree with.
No, absolutely. I
I
mean,
think we need to
I agree with that 100%, because yeah, I was just saying that you really said the right thing. I mean, there are certain aspects where you definitely need that human interaction that's never going to go away, as you said. So dealing with clients, establishing those relationships, that's definitely where you need your staff. When we talk about technology, and then we're just talking about automating a lot of the manual, repetitive tasks that those people might have been doing in the past when you were well staffed, but now since you do not have that staff anymore, okay, how can we leverage technology to take care of this? One example is just sorting out RFPs. We can leverage technology to just sort out which RFPs are best suited for you, so that the sales teams or any team within the hotel can focus on the tasks that bring the highest ROI. So just really prioritizing, and otherwise delegating a lot of the repetitive manual tasks to technology, so that you can focus on the more important things. But yeah, I totally agree with you on that. It can be an opportunity if they're enabled with the right systems in place.
Murray, I guess we've got quite a few hoteliers in the audience. Obviously with your operations hat on, how is it in terms of staff actually delivering the events? So I don't just mean taking the inquiries and things. I mean delivering the actual events. Is that the hardest? Is that the hardest side, that you've got enough staff and you've got a big enough team to actually deliver the events that the sales teams are winning?
Yeah, absolutely. Delivery of something is by and large the hardest thing that we do, because that's the tangible element of making things happen. So making things happen on the ground. I hope there's not too many salespeople connected in today. I often say that the best salespeople are our team on the floor, because they're the team that are really engaging with all of the delegates that are on the ground. They're doing the meet and greet. They're going way beyond the meet and greet, and they may well be offering very, very simple, very personal kinds of service during that meet and greet process that actually opens the door for repeat business and future business and longevity in business for such a long time. So whilst the salespeople ultimately do a brilliant job at making the phones ring, our team on the ground are very much responsible for making sure that those phones continue to ring, and that they respond to that ring, and that they convert that piece of business and allow the salesperson to go off and connect with new and more diverging clients at the same time. So we talk very much about proactive sales team and a reactive sales team. Reactive sales team is everybody you meet at hotel level. You don't always get the benefit of as a delegate of meeting the salesperson who's helped you, bring that piece of business in. They're already busy on the next piece of business and trying to look at 12, 18 months and 24 months down the line. So the team on the ground are vital to make that piece of business work. They're vital to understand if that's an annual event or a biannual event, or if there's any other events coming out from the same client, or not even the same client, but a delegate that is at their venue on that day. And that's where what I mean when I talk about our frontline team often being more important in the sales process than the individual sales directors, because by default a sales director is an individual. The rest of the team could be 10, 20 or 30 people. So that collective approach to sustaining business and developing business is incredibly important and very effective in order to make success within a hotel.
Let's talk about the value of in person. And I want to sort of bring the conversation earlier to that sales funnel, or in terms of the early stages of meeting. And Neil, I understand you've ran some interesting research on the value of venue showcases. So that is being in person on property, looking around. So can you share some key findings from that report, please?
Sure, yeah. So to just give you a bit of context, we teamed up with Customer Communications to run the first of a series of kind of industry surveys to kind of get a kind of, you know, feel the temperature of where the industry was. We called it Delegate Dispatches, and we were asking, are the days of the showcase numbered? So in terms of, you know, we were not saying, is it finished? We were just kind of saying, you know, how is it? What do you get from it? How much does it cost? That kind of thing. So this is gold. I mean, I'll share this with a few of you, and yeah, I know you can download this afterwards as well. We've already put it out about a month ago. But basically, you know, some key things like 87% of buyers attend at least one showcase per year. 64% of them attend one a month. So if you think about that, that's 12 a year they're going to. So, you know, there's some you've really got to work hard to make sure that you can cut through the noise when they're seeing that. It's featured in everybody's, well, I say everybody, 89% of hotels sales and marketing plans each year. On average, they generate, each showcase will generate, the showcases throughout the year will generate a minimum of £94,000 at a cost of £68,000. So quite a good return on your investment as well. We've got lots of technical info, which I probably don't need to talk about now, but you know, the best time of the year to do them, or when they're the best attended, the days of the week when they're attended.
And is that, Neil?
Wednesday. Believe it or not, yeah, no. Wednesday was best for ironically, they were different. Best for buyers was a Wednesday. Best for venues was a Thursday. So, in therefore, I'd say the best is Wednesday. Best for the buyers, you know, and then timings obviously after work was definitely, you know, more of a key time to come. But some of the big things that came from it was, and this is probably our biggest takeaway from it. Only 19%. Showcases only hit the spot for 19% of buyers. So only 1 in 5 felt really like it was a really valuable exercise. 37% of people think that venues should rethink how they do them. 44% were unsure. So I think there's work to do, but what an overall, I mean, there's a lot more detail on the survey, and as I say, I could sit here and read a load of lists, but do that yourself, and you'll pick out a lot of information from it. It's super useful. But what we found was the days of the turning up with a drink in your hand and giving a few canapes, and then 2 hours later off you go with a gift in your hand. Those days are over, really. You need to do more than that. There needs to be a better tie-in. You need to do something else. It's something we've done for a long time. We do events at hotels. You know, we work with hotels, and we'll put on a Delegate Wranglers social event or a dinner party. And we've always done something more than just the show round and the drinks and the food, because we're going back to that word again. We're trying to create emotions. We're trying to create experience, trying to create FOMO, if you like. We're trying to say, oh my God, you needed to be there. You need to see this venue. Not that you needed to be at that event, but you need to see this venue. You need to experience this entertainment or this task that we did, or something or other, something different. So I think it's really important that venues don't just say, we're putting on a showcase, we're going to invite 40 people, boom, done. Job's not done. The job's not done, because clearly that's only affecting 1 in 5 of people who think it is, wow, I really love that event. So yeah, super useful reading for everybody there. And yeah, I hope you kind of enjoyed it. We're going to be doing lots more of them, but that was the first, and we thought it was really, you know, relevant topic, you know, really useful for everybody.
Where do you see the greatest area for improvement there? I'm sure there's different avenues that you can take in terms of trying to improve that process. But in your own opinion, Neil, where is that and what does that look like?
Okay, don't get me started. So we
Summarize
it's a
shortly.
whole journey. Yeah, I think it's a whole journey. I think it's a whole journey of an event. So I'm going to give you, for an example, we did a Christmas party this year where we had 120 people came. It was half buyers, half suppliers. But what we did was I've got this saying, don't wait until the first coffee break until you've said hello to somebody at the conference. So we start that communication and that emotional kind of connection well before that. So most people will set up a registration page, send them a confirmation, send them the joining instructions, and then see you at the event. And that's it. That is like 99% of people. So what we did was, and we learned this. Well, I'm going to say we were clever, but we learned this trick from Facebook themselves. We set up a Facebook group for each of our kind of big events. So what we do is everybody who's coming to the event gets invited to this Facebook group, and we create a mini community within it. And then we have fun with people, like gamification, or you can do challenges, or you can meet experts or meet people who are speaking, and so many ways of communicating. And so we did this, and this really, really helped us to kind of, by the time everybody gets to the event, they know each other. They know each other because of the things they've been doing. And then it just makes the event like so much more memorable because it's been a 2 or 3 month event rather than a 4-hour event. So I think there's a lot of creating that emotional connection with people, which is what we're all about. We create that emotional connection with people so that they trust each other, they believe in each other, they have fun with each other, they respect each other, all those things. I think that's where we could do better, rather than just turn up and be a sales team and just go, hi, shake your hand, can I show you the meeting room? Here's a drink, here's a food, see you later. Book us. It's not those days. That's like 1990s. We don't do that anymore. We need to do better. We need to create better connections and keep the conversation going. In that report as well, there's bits about how soon they want to hear after the event from you, and they want to hear pretty soon. They don't just want to hear 2 weeks later. So it's all about connections.
That's a great example of the role that technology can play pre, during, post-event. It certainly has a pivotal role. And before I come to Konrad to highlight how technology can help to streamline booking processes and actually enhance the planner and arguably the delegate experience, I just want to read out a response in the chat here from MJ. Hi, MJ. Goal: get the site tour to utilize AI to free up sales to engage. I think this is what Konrad and Mary were speaking to earlier. Filter and create responses to quotes that are more customized, in brackets, chat on, chat GPT, Gemini as examples. The sales team member responding to them then becomes an editor versus creating the customized response. If anybody has any questions or would like to follow up with MJ there, please feel free to connect into the chat. But coming to you, Konrad, as our technologist that's on the call, can you provide us some examples of how technology can actually be utilized to help with the challenges that we've talked about so far?
Yeah, absolutely. And the beauty is that these days technology can be used at every single part of the sourcing journey. So just to give an example of Cvent itself, when the hospitality cloud started back in 2008, we were simply an RFP platform. That's it. Planners send RFPs, hotels receive RFPs. And that really was the only technology that we provided at that time to help planners streamline their process and make it more efficient. But today, it's an entire ecosystem. I mean, everything from sending the RFP to managing the RFP to after sales, and what both Mary and Neil have referred to, that whole experience of enhancing that planner experience, it's something that technology can help with. So just to give an example, on the Cvent supplier network itself, more than 20% of our RFPs globally are categorized as small meetings. So we're talking about 20 attendees or less. Now, one of the biggest challenges that our planners faced was, again, a lot of them didn't really want to fill out an RFP for a small event, but they were still doing it. One of the ways in which we're enhancing that experience is we've now launched Instant Book, which is available for, again, it's still being rolled out. It's not been rolled out globally yet, but there are 2 chains in the United States where Instant Book is now live for those chains, meaning if I want to book a meeting space for 10 people, I don't need to bother with filling out that entire RFP anymore, sending it to the hotel, waiting for them to respond, and then maybe doing some negotiation and then finally closing that business. Again, with the lack of staff that we have right now, again, the hotel sales team may not prioritize a 10-person meeting as much as they would a larger one. So again, Instant Book takes care of that, and it also enhances the planner's journey. They don't have to think about sending an RFP anymore if it's a small, simple event. But that's just one part of it. Even when the RFP is received, and one of the comments that we received was using AI to auto-respond to RFPs, that's actually part of the Cvent proposal as well now. We have a proposal writing assistant, which is powered by AI. So you just have to review what's been filled out. And then, of course, you can edit that and say, okay, fine, does this make sense or not? Do I need to make some changes? Again, with that, you're reducing the time that you would otherwise spend on submitting that proposal to the planner. So again, another positive effect. Then we talk about the site tours. And again, venue showcases, as Neil talked about, are really important. But for a lot of planners, they don't have the ability to come down and visit that venue showcase. So if I'm somebody sitting in London, what if I want to know more about a hotel in some other part of the world? Now, venues can now utilize not just a diagramming tool to showcase what that event space is going to look like, they can also render that in photorealistic 3D. So if you want a banquet round in a specific meeting room of a hotel that you have never visited in your life, hotels can now leverage technology to showcase what that meeting space is going to look like with the arrangements that you want, all in photorealistic 3D, and you can even collaborate with the planner and make changes on the go. So again, this is also enhancing the planner's experience because now they don't have to first get a layout from you, maybe drawn on a PDF, then they might say, okay, I don't like this, can you make those changes? And then there's just all that back and forth. So again, this is also enhancing the planner's experience because you're collaborating with them live, and even before the event, you're already engaging with them. You already know, or they already know that, okay, fine, this is exactly what my event is going to look like. It just increases that level of confidence in them. And then to round it all off, let's just say that as a result of all of these efforts, you've used the AI proposal writing assistant, you've used the diagramming to really wow the planner and showcase them what your venue is going to look like when they do arrive. Finally, if you do confirm that piece of event, which is awesome news, you can also use a robust housing solution whereby, let's just say that there are 200 attendees that are going to check into your hotel, all with information on check-in date, checkout date, first name, last name. You can use technology to automate the rooming list. You can create a personalized website. And, just to Neil's point, I really love the point that he talked about engaging your audience well before the event. So it's not just a one-day event. It's like a 3-month event. You can utilize technology to start engaging the attendees of that event well before their arrival date. They can check out what the hotel is going to look like. Maybe there are some options that they need. Personally, for me, one of the favorite things that I like to do, but I'm not always successful at, is having a late checkout. Sometimes I get it, sometimes I don't. But if I were given the option that, okay, fine, would you like to have a late checkout or maybe an early check-in? I'd love to take that. I'd love to pay for my own money just to have that experience as well. It's fine. I just mentioned I was in the US last week. I was in DC for 5 days, but I extended my trip by 2 days to go to New York. So again, I would love to have that experience as well through technology that, okay, fine, maybe if I want to extend my stay at a hotel and explore the city, then I have that option as well right after a business trip. So again, the housing solution that I'm talking about allows for the attendees to be more independent, to customize their stay as per their liking, but it also makes the planner look really good because at the end of the day, if your attendees are happy, it makes the planner look good. Again, they have dashboards to track how their pickup is going. Do they need to send out reminders? So again, I'm really just touching upon the iceberg, but you can see that from the start, from when an RFP is sent, or maybe not even sent, it was just instantly booked, to responding to the RFP, to creating those visual, compelling diagrams to entice the planner, and then finally, by taking care of their rooming list needs through technology as well, all of these touch points help increase the planner's satisfaction. It makes them look really good. It helps them save time. It helps them save money. And yeah, overall, it's just, they are always going to have a memorable event if you're utilizing technology to really augment all of those points.
We have a question from Sammy from the audience, and perhaps this is best directed to yourself, Konrad, building on top of everything that you've mentioned. Is the topic of expert analytics still on the agenda?
Expert analytics, yeah, I mean, in terms of business intelligence, that can be utilized as well. Now, business intelligence is going to be more with regards to tracking your own performance, the one that we provide at Cvent. So that is something that hotel can leverage as well. There are some standard reporting that we provide, but there are also some paid reports that are available to hotels. So if I want to know how I'm doing versus my comp set, I can obtain that information. Or maybe I'm an above property person and I'd like to see the performance of my hotels and how they're doing. I'd like to identify the areas of improvement. Maybe they have a low conversion rate. Maybe they have a really high response time. Again, we have expert, I would say, we have those solutions in place whereby they can track all of this information, gain the insights, and then, of course, implement whatever needs to be done to correct those. Yes, absolutely.
Thanks, Konrad. Mary, I wouldn't mind coming to you, please. I can see we've got just about 15 minutes, say 12, 13, 14 minutes on the clock. Could you share some best practices for optimizing conversion rates? We're talking about unlocking the secrets to success. So some personal insights maybe that someone can take away today and look at implementing. What have you experimented with and what's been the results?
Great question. I will try and make it short because I know we're a little bit pushed on time, but I think we're seeing shorter lead times for events in the past couple of years, and that's really for both big and small events. And what's driving that, we don't know exactly. I think we've touched on the fact that it could be fewer people all around the events business platform who are in effect picking up more work, and that makes decision making a more drawn out process. It could be down simply depending the nature of the event, whether it's attracting or confirming delegates at a particular event, which is perhaps more complex today than it was previously. It could be budget and it could be other factors. And of course, in budgets, we're seeing higher budgets, which is great. But what we are seeing is that once delegates do get together, the conversation flows, the working relationships are formed, and I think it's vital, irrespective of whether it's an internal event or an external event, and whether that be training or whether that be a product launch or an award ceremony. What we are seeing is that's really vital for any business to grow. In our own business, only last week we held client events, and we all know of the challenges with travel last week and train strikes. But we had feedback from some of those people who joined us who said, even if I had to take a replacement bus, I wouldn't have missed this for the world. And so that, whilst indicative of an individual response to events last week, hopefully actually that's the kind of opportunities that we're seeing right across the business, that people really want to come out and really acknowledge that this is important to see a particular venue. We know, I think, that the best business and the best opportunities are formed from progressive long-term relationships. So we know it's more powerful to nurture and to cultivate existing business and to really look after existing business and relationships than to look for new business and for new clients. So really, looking after what you've got is probably 80% of what we need to do today, and driving new business is that 20%. And, Neil, I think, touched upon this a little bit earlier. We're seeing that the 3 servings of tea, coffee, and lunch, and the LCD projector and screen included in your day delegate rate is not actually what clients are looking for anymore. So what we're doing is really making sure that we understand what it is that the client wants from the day. So that outcome piece, what are they looking to achieve? And in effect then creating or curating more unique events that meets the needs of those individual clients, as opposed to what it is that we think you need, and here's our list of that. So it's what we call the personalization piece. It's probably what Neil calls the emotional piece as well. And of course, that keeps our team engaged, and it keeps the creative juices and the creative elements flowing. And it allows our rapport with the client to be much more collaborative. And it involves, of course, everybody from the chef to IT, who absolutely all are responsible for delivering that particular event. We know technology, we know systems generally are vital in the whole process of an event success. It shouldn't be at the expense of human interaction and personal touch. And that's absolutely what we strive and try to deliver every day. That personalization, that driving the in-person discussions, and that doesn't need to be face-to-face, but it absolutely needs to be on the telephone, doesn't need to always be by email. And leading from the front drives that long-term loyalty, both with the client and with the business. And it's that loyalty from these discussions, I think, that helps shape our future strategy, from what we do from a development perspective to design, and what it is that we look to deliver for our clients in the future.
Thanks, Mary. I want to ask both Neil and Konrad a question before we close off. So I'm sorry, we're going to try and squeeze 2 final questions in here. But on that creative topic that Mary was talking about and creating those unique events and experience, can you highlight, Neil, some creative ways that hotels can engage beyond traditional booking processes?
Yeah, and I know this isn't meant to sound like a selfless plug, but the Delegate Wranglers is exactly that. It's what we get told by all our members all the time. This is a way that, a kind of modern technology way of engaging with places. So you don't, traditionally you used to have to go to a trade show, get a brochure, go and do a site visit. That's the way you'd find out about a venue. Now you can use things like, the things that Cvent do and the things that we do, to engage with their audience. For example, we have 23,000 members, of which 13,000 are suppliers and about 10,000 buyers. So what a platform to showcase yourself. So we don't allow kind of promotional posts on our group because it would just be full of promotional posts. But we have a thing called supplier hour. So once a week, you can kind of promote yourself once a week and hit those people. And people use that hour to kind of share different aspects of the business. So sometimes it'll be about the meeting space. Sometimes it'll be about the people. Sometimes it'll be about the food, or even the area or the region. So they can use this, and then, they can use videos. People stand up and say, hello, Delegate, film themselves. Hello, Delegate Wranglers. I'm here to tell you about this, and we have honestly, we have everything like that. So people use it in different ways. And we also have similar hours for to promote an event, and an event hour, and freelancers have their own hour as well. So there are many ways now with kind of community and technology to connect with people in a different way and to give them a flavor of who you are, not just what you are, because the who you are is exactly what Mary was talking about earlier. When the sales team are selling, hotel space, our meeting room, I would expect every meeting room and every hotel and every venue on the planet to be able to have a meeting room with a screen, food and drink, blah, blah, blah. What makes it special is the people, and what Mary's sales teams are selling is the people who are serving them, the people who are working for them, the people who are delivering their events and making their experience a kind of rich one. So that's what the Delegate Wranglers, for example, we enable that to happen. You know, and we have showcases, we have we do trade show stands, and we do events. You know, lots, all these different ways are the touch point. We call them touch points, lots of different touch points, social media, in person, trade shows, supplier hour, all these different ways. So there are many different ways. And, you know, we're not the only platform, and this is not just about us. I'm a fan of I've been in the industry 25 years, so I'm all about the industry. And I think if the industry's doing well and you're good enough, you're going to do well yourself. So I'm all about supporting the wider industry, including our competitors or whoever.
Thanks, Neil. And to give the final word to Konrad, what is one piece of actionable advice that you would give to somebody listening today that's looking to improve their hotel or venue's success?
Oh, that's good. All right. So I just say identifying what your biggest pain point is, and enabling your team with the right kind of technology to address those challenges. So in terms of just broad headers, in terms of just some challenges that we come across that are told to us by hotels, they could be in the categories of maybe lack of volume. Maybe you're not getting that many inquiries. Or it could just be conversion. You're getting a lot of RFPs, but you're struggling to convert them. That's another topic. It could be response times. Maybe you're struggling with that. Maybe it's just a lack of integrations. You have a lot of different systems at the hotel, but maybe they don't communicate with each other, which is adding to a lot of manual work and data entry that you otherwise need to do. And as one of the comments that came in the chat box, analytics, maybe it's the data that you're missing. So, okay, I know I'm getting this much business and I convert this much business, but I don't know how I stack against my competition. So is a lack of data your challenge? So again, maybe I'm sure there are a lot of other challenges outside of what I mentioned, but it's really just about identifying what your biggest challenges are for 2024. As both Neil and Mary have said, nothing can really replace the human element. We just need to enhance their experience so that they can go ahead and enhance the planner's experience. So once you've identified what is it that I need to work on, okay, what are the right tools that can help me address this so that my people have more time to focus on the customer's experience and enrich that so that a lot of the daily manual repetitive tasks can be outsourced to technology and my team can free up time to focus on the things that matter the most.
Thank you. Thank you to Konrad. Thank you to Neil. Thank you to Mary. Bang on 3 o'clock. We've smashed it. We are going to leave this webinar open just for an extra 2 minutes right at the end to allow our audience members to follow up with any of the links that we've popped into the chat. There's some real juicy stuff in there today. So I do suggest that you take a look through and follow up there. I just have a couple of closing slides to run through. We talked about Gen Z earlier today. The next webinar that I'm hosting a week today is called What Does Gen Z Want from Hotels? So if you'd like to learn more, we'd love to see you there. The link to register has been popped into the chat. And if you're interested in working with us, either across our digital events, such as the one today, or our in-person events too, please do get in touch. My colleagues Rav and Piers, their details are in the chat and also up on your screens now. So all that's left for me to do is to say thank you. Thank you to Cvent, thank you to Konrad, thank you to Neil and Mary for your insights. Really enjoyed the conversation. It's been great chatting with you all. Chloe, thank you for hosting. This was really informative. So what a great note to end on. Enjoy the rest of your days and I look forward to seeing you next week. Take care, guys.
Hello,
Thanks, everyone.
We are International Hospitality Media, or IHM for short. IHM is the #1 brand to engage with decision makers in hospitality and real estate. Our 4 multimedia brands lead their respective sectors with breaking news, comments, trends, and opinion across a variety of multimedia solutions. We provide an inspirational community to connect people through world-class events, webinars, podcasts, award schemes, and much more. But let us share our story of who we are and what we do. Over 10 years ago, Piers & George had a light bulb moment to provide expert opinion, comments, and low-cost digital content. And so they went on a journey over the past decade, creating media platforms to serve the hospitality and real estate industries. We now have an engaged audience with a reach of over 60,000 monthly visitors across our website, 48,000 of our email database across all the sectors, and over 67,000 across our social channels. Everything we do believe in challenging the status quo. We believe in thinking differently. We make things simple and very easy to work with us. And we're a friendly bunch too. We offer creative solutions to help you achieve your business goals. Read, watch, listen, meet with IHM. Contact us for a chat today. Just look at some of the brands we have worked with recently.